Right, well, England's first knockout game of the World Cup is a little over 2 days away, and finally, a sensible kick-off time, 5 p.m. Oof. DR Congo are the opponents, but there are a few problems stacking up for Thomas Tuchel. Our football correspondent, Rob Dorset, has the very latest.
There is precious little time for England's players to recuperate from the exertions of that final group game against Panama in Jersey 2 days ago. They go again in 2 days' time in the first of the knockout games for them at World Cup 2026. Yesterday was all about rest and recovery. They will have been in the gym, they'll have been in the pool, they'll have had some massage, trying to get rid of some of the knots in the legs, ready to have a full training session today and look at the specific tactical preparation for that Congo game. Remember, they fly to Atlanta tomorrow. That's how quick the turnaround is here for the England squad. Just 2 full days in between those matches for a pretty bruised England squad. And when we talk about the injuries, I think the biggest concern is around Jarrell Quansah. He came off in the second half with what looked like a pretty nasty twisted ankle. The good news is I saw him walking through the stadium towards the England team bus and he looked okay, so fingers crossed that he will recover in time. The real concern of him is it's another right back with an injury. Tino Livramento, of course, left the squad before they'd even kicked a ball, and Reece James, we reported a couple of days ago, may not kick a ball again in this World Cup unless England get through to the latter stages of the tournament. The other injury concerns, Declan Rice was rested against Panama. He says he's good to go in a couple of days' time. Elliot Anderson had a dead leg but played a full part in the game. Bukayo Saka made his first start at this World Cup, but I didn't feel he looked 100% fit, I have to be honest. So the England medical staff and physios have an awful lot of work on their hands, and we will not get to see how those players look out on the training pitch today. We won't know whether all 25 have taken a full part in training, because it's a closed training session away from the cameras as England focus on that game against DR Congo. But they'll have their final training session tomorrow, and in between, early evening later on, we'll hear from one member of the England squad. What's the mood like? What's the confidence levels like? What's the injury prognosis like going into their first knockout game?
Similar to the Ghana game. I thought Panama put in a good account of themselves. They worked really hard. They frustrated England for large periods of the game. But then, you know, our big players that you want to stand up and be counted and put in big performances, they did that. Bellingham was fantastic all game. And it's no surprise to me that he put in that kind of performance, playing in a deeper role next to Elliot Anderson, where he can go from deep up and arrive in the box. I know that his goal came from a corner, but ultimately he was getting around the pitch and he looked much better when he's facing the pitch rather than when his back is to the goal. So I thought that was a fantastic performance. And then Harry Kane does what he does. It was a great header coming across the defender. And then obviously England get the win in the end. But I wouldn't say it was a great performance, but it was a good enough performance to get over the line. And now obviously Congo, and I think that will be a similar game to the last 2 games. So it's going to be difficult. I think DR Congo have some weapons. They have some players that have speed and power and pace on the counter attack. So it's something that England need to be aware of, especially. I think that's been the weakest part of our team so far, the defensive unit.
Okay. What is a problem are the injuries that Rob was mentioning there. Goodness me. Which concerns you most? Well,
Declan Rice, but he's obviously said that he's going to be ready to go, which is great. He's a vice captain. He's the leader. He drives the ball forward as he breaks through the lines. Not especially with his passing, but you know, with his athleticism. So that was key. Saka's a bit of a worry, if I'm honest, because he doesn't look like the same Saka as before when he had you know, his hamstring injuries and them operations on his hamstrings. And I know that it's not easy. You have to kind of build up that confidence of that. You know, it's not gonna go. But right now, he's not looking. He might be fit, but there's a big difference between fit and match sharp. At the moment, he doesn't look match sharp. He looks off it. So that's a bit of a worry. And then Quansah, yes, for the squad, it's not good because obviously it's a man down. But I don't want to see him right back, to be perfectly honest. And I think there's better options like Quansah. Quansah plays right back for Villa before. He's played there for England, and obviously Spence. When Spence has played, he's done pretty well. So
Look, there's lots to get stuck into, isn't there, really? But let's talk this man. No doubt he has been England's main man at this World Cup so far. It's a very special day for Jude Bellingham because he turns 23 years old, and Thomas Tuchel says he's delighted to see Bellingham shining on the world's biggest stage. Bellingham hasn't always had it easy under Tuchel, but the midfielder has been given some big praise by the England head coach, saying, "I'm not sure if it's a reaction, but it is what we want from him. He is very positive from the first day in camp. He's fully into all the things from him as a team player, and he brings his individual quality to decide football games." That is what you see in World Cups now, and what you see from other teams and other big players. He is a key player. And he buys into all the things that we demand of him as a team player. So well done until now. Well done. He needs to keep on going. Is he now England's most important player? Maybe him and Kane?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say them two, for sure. If you've got a midfielder like Bellingham and he's driving the team forward with his power, with his pace, getting in areas, pockets where he's, doing cute passes, but then he's getting back as well, putting in challenges. He's industrious. I've always looked at Bellingham that way. He's a great number 8, and I think that's where we're going to get to see the best of him. And that for me, he put in some big performances in the Euros, scored some important goals, but that was his best overall performance in terms of affecting the game. And then obviously there's Harry Kane. We need to score the goals. But like Tuchel said there, which was interesting, he keeps mentioning team player. And I feel like when he went to the Euros, he wasn't acting like a team player. It was like more individual. He's in that leadership group as well. But then a lot's happened since then. He's grown as a player. He's young. But now it seems like he's got that maturity. His reaction to what Tuchel has said has only improved him, but it's helped the team as well. So what I'm seeing there from Bellingham was fantastic, and then it gave the opportunity to Morgan Rogers as well to play as that number 10, and I thought it was just a better blend. I think the problem that Tuchel is going to have now is, does he play Declan Rice or Elliot Anderson alongside Bellingham, or are you going to put him back in that number 10 position again?
Yeah. Problems stacking up from Thomas Tuchel. Our football correspondent Rob Dorset has the latest. Yeah, so we kind of want to figure out some of those answers to the questions. A few injury problems. What about changes? Obviously, Declan Rice was rested against Panama. Do you expect him to come back in?
I'm not sure. I feel like can you rush Declan Rice back, especially with a calf injury? Calf injuries are tricky, and at this point in the tournament, I'm not sure he's as needed, especially against DR Congo, no disrespect. I think without Declan Rice, England should still win. I think he'll probably go with him to start on the bench, especially with the way that Jude Bellingham played next to Elliot Anderson. I think he'll keep the team, especially the attacking players. I think he'll keep those pretty much the same. I think in the defence, I think that's where the changes will be, obviously because of Kwanzaa's injury.
Yeah, on that, so that is a big concern, isn't it? This right back, Reece James, injured as well. Kwanzaa, obviously the deputy. So what is your solution to that?
I think you have to play Spence. Even though he plays on the left-hand side mostly for Tottenham, I feel like he's the one player that we could see get up and down that right-hand side. Defensively, in one-on-one situations, I don't see many players get change out of him just because his physicality and his speed. Yes, positionally, sometimes he can be out of position, but that's because of his speed. I mean, when you look at Kyle Walker, everyone would say the same thing about Kyle Walker, especially in his earlier years, that he's got that recovery pace, so his positioning is not as good. But that's the player that I would go with. Again, he can overlap, he comes inside, but he's got the energy to push England forward. And I think in this particular game, I think it's going to be like the wide players are going to be up there. I think it's almost going to be like 7 attackers, and then you might have like whoever it may be that's playing in that defensive midfield kind of role, plus the 2 centre-backs that are going to be defending. That needs to be focused on. They need to keep that solid, but I feel like with DR Congo, they're going to be trying to frustrate England. And the only way you can get players in a box and have that attacking link-up play is by having the fullbacks bombing on as well.
Okay.
In these moments, it's hard because after the game, everybody gets pulled in a million different directions by media, and you don't really have a chance to be with your team unless you take that moment right there. So at different times, we've shared messages with each other. I always try to get the leaders to speak because, again, they're Canadian. This is their national team. But I wanted to be able to, voice to them like how important a moment this will prove to be.
I'm over the moon, but at the same time, I don't want to say that the job's finished. We know that we're going to get Morocco or Netherlands, which is going to be a very hard game. And we hope that when they saw the game back home, that they felt that, next week, the game is going to be very tough for them, and that's what we want.
Now, despite their elimination, South Africa head coach Hugo Broos says he's very proud of the achievements of his squad. The 74-year-old had been clear before the tournament that it would be his last as a head coach for South Africa, but he hasn't ruled out continuing with the squad in some capacity in the future.
We don't have to be too much disappointed again. What we did was good, and I'm very happy, I'm very proud of my team. I said always, yes, this is my last, and it is my last World Cup, that is for sure. But yeah, what will happen in the next days and weeks, that depends also a little bit how South Africa see the future. And with me then, and we will see.
The host nations have been good. They've put in solid performances. That game last night for Canada was a tricky game. They rode their luck at times. It was great to see Alphonso Davies come back because he's instrumental to the way they play. He don't even play as a left back like he does for his club team. He's more in that central role trying to influence the game. But it was a very good performance in terms of they kept the clean sheet. They created. What a goal by Bukayo. The first touch alone just created that goal, but it was a great goal. And then we see some Ted Lasso stuff there from Jesse Marsh at the end. So I think overall it was a good performance. And again, with Canada especially, I feel like they just need to put a good account of themselves, keep working hard as a team. Like Jesse said there, they're heroes now of Canada, and keep plugging away, see how far they can go. But they're not going to be a pushover against any nation.
But they did.